crafty friends, and happy Friday, Flosstube. Today is Friday, November 6th. My name is Jessie, and this is mislaidpages. Welcome, and thanks for checking in. I don't know about you all, but it has been a week for me. It's definitely been interesting. My friends who also live in the U.S. will understand where I'm coming from, probably. Those of you in Europe are stressing for different reasons, and I completely understand. So, yeah, it's just been, you can feel the stress and the anxiety in the air here in the States. We're still waiting for the results of the election that happened on Tuesday officially. Usually we know late that night who our president is going to be going forward, but we're now into Friday and votes are still being counted in several states. And many of us are just holding our breath and hoping. So, yeah, it's been an interesting one, and I know a lot of folks are very frustrated that it is such a close vote. A lot of us thought that we would be better. So, anyway, I'm not going to get too into it because I know if you're like me, you're desperately trying to stay away from as much of the coverage as you can because all it does is just keep you in a level of high anxiety and it keeps you from being able to protect yourself from all of the symptoms of anxiety. So I'm doing my best. Most of what my week has been trying to stay off of Facebook and even off of Instagram, honestly, because both of them have this fancy little pop-up that lets you immediately check in on the election results, which is not actually nearly as helpful as they like to think it is, because the votes are not being counted quickly and changes, updates are not happening often or quickly. So it really is just a recipe for stress and anxiety and exhaustion from the same. So anyway, but that's been my week. If you were having a similar week, then I feel you, and I'm going to remind you to take care of yourself. Make sure that you're not sitting on Facebook and you're not sitting on Instagram and you're not doom scrolling and you're not just allowing yourself to be inundated with the constant talk, because all it's going to do is cause you trouble and grief. It's absolutely okay to be concerned, to be fearful even. I think a lot of us are, but you have to protect yourself. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If that's shutting off your phone for a little while so that you can get away from it, if it's diving into your cross stitching so that you can, think of something else, which is what I will be doing all weekend. Do whatever you need to do. Also, make sure you're staying hydrated, taking your meds. These are really, really important things for your physical health and your mental health. So make sure that you're doing all those things. So, with that said, let's get into we'll get into some of my Flosstube. If you're new here, I talk about several things and then I talk about the cross stitching. It's just kind of how I do. Some people seem to enjoy it, so I appreciate that. But yeah, if you're only here for the cross stitching, you might want to skip ahead. I'm not going to bother putting a timestamp in here. I'm going to try not to edit this more than I have to, just because I have other things I have to do today, and I have other things I want to do today, and I don't want to spend my whole day editing. So, that's that. So, first things first, what am I listening to? I actually did listen to a podcast the other day. It's called Thanks for Asking. What is it called? I never looked this up before I start recording. Terrible, Thanks for Asking is what the podcast is called. And it was a really interesting, I didn't listen to the full thing, but I listened to it while I was cooking the other day. So I heard about half of it, and a lot of it was about the experience of a black woman who was adopted to a white family, and her just what it was like to be a person in that situation and to understand and see and feel the racism that happens to you and the confusion that happens to you when you're a person of color with people, in a family full of people who are not of color. So that was really interesting. I had a friend of mine, a non-YouTube friend of mine, who also happens to be named Rachel, recommend that podcast to me ages ago, and I never did check it out, but I finally checked it out this past week. So that was really interesting. I'll be listening to more episodes of that. I've also been watching, my husband and I just finished binging Doom Patrol on HBO Max. And that's a really good show. It's weird. It has its quirks and it has its issues, but it has some really awesome stuff happening too. One of the biggest things, or actually, two of the biggest things that I think are really kind of groundbreaking, or at least really make me feel good about the show. There is a character called Danny the Street. Danny is literally a street. Danny is a character who is conceptual in nature, but so Danny is literally a street with buildings and businesses and all this sort of stuff, a sentient street basically. But Danny's also genderqueer, and they make a really big deal, but also not a big deal about making sure that people understand that Danny is genderqueer and that Danny's pronouns are they and them. And I think those are the kinds of things that we need in our popular shows. We need things that explain what this is and why this is, so that people can understand. It's important to say they them when somebody is genderqueer. It's important to say they them when somebody asks you to call them they them. You know, those are things that are meaningful and important. So I love that. Also, one of the main characters in the original comic books was called Crazy Jane. This particular character has what I think would be more appropriately called dissociative identity disorder. It used to be called multiple personalities. I'm not completely aware of what the appropriate term is now. Regardless, she is an individual who has many individuals in her mind. 64 to be exact. Each of them have different and separate powers and abilities and quirks and personalities and even like food allergies and stuff. They are all very individual. When they manifest, they have very individual physical traits that show up, and they've done a really good job of taking that character. Hi, Loki. It's a cat day. They've done a really good job of taking that character and removing, for the most part, the crazy aspect of it, because I don't think it's fair, even when a character's like part of the main drive of the character is that they have these multiple personalities within them. It's not fair to call that crazy. We don't consider that crazy. It might be a mental illness issue. In this particular case, it was triggered by severe trauma that the original person experienced. So I think it's important to understand that because somebody is going through this thing, that doesn't make them crazy. It makes it so that they have to deal with things differently and different things than other people might have to deal with, but they're not crazy just because of that. So these are both really good things about the show. If you like superhero type stuff, especially if you like off the wall, not quite superhero, like quirky, weird kind of stuff, it's a really good show. Alan Tudyk is in the first season, and he's one of my favorite actors ever. He played Wash on Firefly, and has played a number of things over the course of the years. Trying to remember, Brendan Fraser is one of the main characters, as is Matt Bomer. And I don't remember the actress's name, but she was one of the lesser aired characters on Orange is the New Black. She plays Jane. So there's a lot of, and Timothy Dalton of all people. So there's a lot of really interesting actors. There's a lot of really good stuff going on. Definitely worth checking out. Oh, also, incidentally, the actress who plays Rita Farr, she was the goofy bubblehead sidekick from Drop Dead Diva ages ago. So that's kind of hilarious. But yeah, so it's worth checking out. I finally finished my rewatch of Gilmore Girls, and with all the stress and everything, I almost considered just going back to episode 1, starting over again, because it's such a comforting show. Even though I'm in a much different place now and I view some of the characters and actions very differently than I used to, it's still incredibly comforting to just sit down and listen to the Gilmore Girls. I don't know what it is about it. But I've opted not to do that because it's a little much. My husband already thinks that I've sat and watched it 6 times in the last 3 weeks or whatever. I have not, but he thinks I have because he doesn't get it. But those of you who love Gilmore Girls, you get me. But I've decided to rewatch Buffy instead. So I'm in season 2, towards the end of season 2. And it's interesting to rewatch Buffy. I thought I had rewatched it multiple times in the past. But as I'm rewatching it now, I'm feeling like I must not have. I don't connect with it the same way that I remember connecting with it before. A lot of it is the Angel Buffy relationship feels very different to me now as an adult who doesn't have the same romanticized ideas of relationships and love and things like that. I was very much one of those young people that was like super into the star-crossed lovers and the we love each other so much but we can't be together, and the tragic love stories. Like that was my jam, was the tragic love stories. I just don't get quite as into that anymore as I used to, because so much of it is based on these relationships that are doomed to from the start. Like there's already, when they get together, a reason that they should have never considered each other in the first place. Obviously, with Angel and Buffy, it's the fact that she's the vampire slayer and he's a vampire. You know, these are things that probably do not go together. And when I was younger, that was like a thing that just would get to me, and I would have to watch it. These days, I'm kind of like, come on, y'all. Like, you already know this is not going to work. Like, I think I've lived too much life at this point, and I have trouble turning that off and understanding that it's just a story, and this makes it better. I will say that even for that, Joss Whedon still has this ability to really get you to just like dig down and like, I don't know. There's something about the way that he creates a story that even if on the surface you're like, this is so silly, they would never have been together in the first place, even though you're like that, there are moments when you're just like, oh, Buffy, I feel so bad for you. Like, he gets you right in the feels. Like, this is some kind of special magical ability that he has. Pretty much anything I've ever watched that was written by Joss Whedon, something has gotten me right in the feels. And Buffy is doing that too, not to the same extent it used to, but it's definitely still happening. So that's probably a large part of what I'm going to be watching this weekend. So I'll get to weekend plans later, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of Buffy watching. I may also, if I don't know that I'll finish Buffy, but when I finish Buffy at some point in the future, I may start rewatching The Magicians, because that's another comfort show for me, which might sound weird, but for some reason, The Magicians is just, like, that's my story. I guess for me, it's like a modern day adult Harry Potter kind of situation, and maybe that's why it gets me so much, because I connected so much with Harry Potter when I was younger, and the idea that this poor kid who had been abandoned, well, not abandoned by his family, but this poor kid who had lost his real family and was forced to live with this awful family could be special and amazing and have such a huge role in the outcome of wizardry in general. Like, just this whole idea, and there's so many more things in Harry Potter, but the whole idea of it just really got to me. And there's that same sort of thing with The Magicians. I haven't read the books, I've only watched the show, so I will say that, but the show just really just grabbed me from the first season. Second season's not my favorite, but in the first season we have a very similar situation. We have this guy, and he's getting ready to go into grad school. So he's college age, so much closer to my age, the age that I was when the show started about 6 years ago. So more relatable at this stage in my life than Harry Potter is. But it's a very similar situation. A kid who never fit in, or a guy who never fit in, who was always seen as kind of a weirdo. He struggled a lot with depression because he just didn't feel like he fit. And then he suddenly finds out that there's this world where he fits. And of course, wackiness ensues, and they have to fight bad guys and blah, blah, blah. But the gist of the story is that he finds a place where he has a place. And I think that's always a story that gets me, because it's always something that just I really relate to. So anyway, so Magicians may come next. I'm kind of waiting until they finally put season 5 on Netflix. And they always seem to wait until almost a full year after the show has finished airing before they put it on Netflix. So, which is frustrating now, because there's not going to be a new season. They usually drop the season on Netflix, the previous season on Netflix, right before the new season. But the show is over, so why are we waiting? Why can I not have season 5 now so that I can just binge it again? So that's one of the shows that I literally have watched it in its entirety every time a new season has aired. So I have watched seasons 1 through 4, or I've watched season 1 5 times now. Because I have restarted the series every time a new season came out. So this will be my 6th rewatch of season 1. I'm feeling a little goofy saying that, but it's one of my favorite shows ever. I really connect to it. I know that season 4 is going to kill me. Season 4 kills me every single time, but it is what it is. But there's also, I think it's also in season 4, there's an episode in season 4 that kills me, but there's an episode in season 4 that is my favorite episode of anything, almost of anything of all time. And if you haven't watched it, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's an episode where the characters, Quentin and Elliot, as part of a quest, go to find this mosaic. And the story is all about them trying to figure out this mosaic. It's a huge tile mosaic, and it is one of the most fantastic stories of anything ever. It's one of my favorites. Peaches and plums, motherfuckers. Peaches and plums. So, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, you'll have to check it out. But yeah, it's just like that Star Trek episode. Not just like, but it reminds me of that Star Trek episode where Captain Picard, I can't remember the name of the episode, Captain Picard is like sucked into, not physically, but like mentally sucked into this satellite that the ship finds, and he lives an entire life as somebody in that culture, in that alien species. He lives an entire life, and that's how they were able to sort of continue to live even though the species had died long ago. That was how they maintained their history and transferred their history to other races that would happen upon their area. So it's got a very similar kind of vibe without giving you too much. So anyway, yeah. So I love things like that. I don't know why. There's something about it. Okay, so that was probably like 15 minutes of rambling about what I'm watching. So let's get into the cross stitching. I don't have any Happy Mail right now. I don't think it's time yet for all my Patreon Happy Mail to come in, so that's fine. But I don't have anything to show you. I don't have a ton of stuff to show you in general. We're moving into the lull before all of the craziness that will happen on December 1st. I will say my 25 days of, oh my gosh, the Black Needle Society box. It's the Nice List 25 days of gifts. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Regardless, I got a shipping notification yesterday, so that is on the way. That will be here well before December 1st, so I can start opening it. I know Forbidden Fiber Co. is getting their stitchy boxes together as we speak, so that'll be here too. So that'll be really fun for Flossmas. I do plan on doing hopefully close to daily videos. I'm not going to promise every single day that I will film, but it was fun when I was able to stick with it. So I'm going to try to do every day for Flossmas. At the very least, I will do every weekday, probably most Saturdays as well. Sundays I'll probably take a break from filming, but I'll try to do most days for Flossmas. So that'll start December 1st. So there's a lot of stuff coming as far as haul and stuff like that, but in the meantime it's going to be a little bit low. So with various things going on, including having to replace our water heater, yeah, my stash building has definitely is definitely taking a huge pause for a while. So I will still be getting my fabric of the month from Brandy. I will still probably occasionally get some floss from Kathy Davidson. I also have my Color and Cotton floss subscription that I'm going to keep up, and then I have a couple of yarny things too, but that'll be you'll see in the Woolly Wednesdays as I get a chance to do it. And you can see kind of over my shoulder, this will happen during Flossmas as well. So if you have any interest in yarn, at least in looking at yarn, Forbidden Fiber Co.'s Christmas Advent Mystery Cal is I'll be opening those along with Flossmas. So anyway, all that to say, no Happy Mail. I will also say I had somebody offer to send me a gift, and I really appreciate that. I don't currently have a PO box, so I just wanted to mention to anybody else who might be thinking about it. I so appreciate your generosity if you're interested in sending me something, but I don't have a PO box, and I don't really want to share my personal address for privacy reasons. I think you can understand that. So until or unless I get a PO box, I'm just going to ask that you maybe pay that gift forward to somebody else. If you're thinking about sending me something, you're more than welcome to contact me at any point. If you have something specific that you want to ask me about, that's totally fine. But in general, until I get a PO box, I'm not really accepting subscriber mail, so just FYI. There are some folks that I follow who follow me that we are friends outside of YouTube, and that's a whole different situation. And those of you who are those people, you probably know who you are. But yeah, if we don't have a relationship outside of YouTube, until I have a PO box, it is what it is. So I hope you'll understand, and please know that I do appreciate that you even thought of me. It means a huge, I mean, it's a big deal to have anybody think of me just because you've watched my videos and want to send me something. So I really appreciate it. It's absolutely not an issue of me not appreciating it, just it's an issue of privacy and safety. So I hope you'll understand, because I can't go around trying to vet every single one of you who wants to be kind. So anyway. So that is that. Pardon me, excuse me. I'm all choked up this morning. So, I have a new start. Most of my stitching recently has actually been on the smaller of the two model stitches that I can't show you, but I did finish that stitch, so yay! So I'll be taking pictures of that and sending that to the designer. Her name is Ashley Wolf, of Wolfpack Creation Cross Stitch. I believe is her full and correct business name. Now that is not she's not related, as far as I know, to Wolfpack Diamond Painting, who is Stephanie. Two separate people. So definitely, once I'm able to share the design with you, understand that that's, Ashley Wolf of Wolfpack Creation is not connected to Wolfpack Diamond Painting. So even though it sounds like they are, I think Ashley's cross-stitch company name is based off of her last name, which is Wolf. So, and I know that Stephanie's whole Wolfpack diamond painting thing is a whole different thing. So, anyway, they're not connected, but I will be sending Ashley the pictures of the finished piece that I have, and once she actually makes that pattern live on Etsy, I will then be able to share the image. I'll be able to share the cross stitch with you. I'm not sure how I'm going to fully finish it. I don't think I'm going to try to fully finish it before I send her pictures. I'm just going to send her pictures of the stitch, and she can do whatever she needs to with it. But yeah, I'll show it to you once she makes that pattern live, and I'll give you the link in case you want to stitch it too. It was a really cool stitch, so I'm excited to be able to share it with you at some point. I also started another model stitch, the larger of the two model stitches, for another designer who I've worked for before. At someday I will be able to share these with you. These are much longer term things, but the stitch along for the new pattern is actually started yesterday. So Sempre Avanti from Tempting Tangles, that stitch along started yesterday, and that is the model stitch that I am working on. So I won't be showing it here on the channel until Deborah gives me the go-ahead to share it on the channel, but if you want to join in on the stitch along, you're more than welcome. She has a Facebook page that you can get into once you have purchased the pattern. I believe it's like $6.50, and you get all 16 parts. It's released in smallish blocks every 2 weeks, I believe, for 16 drops. So there's 16 pieces. The total piece is 176 by 176 stitches. So it's going to be roughly 10.5 inches by 10.5 inches on 32 count fabric. And let's see, what other details do you need to know? The individual pattern drops are around 40 by 40. I think the first one is maybe 45 by 45 or something like that, but they're all less than 50 by 50. So they're relatively small and they work up quickly. And trust me, if you use the called for dinky dies, it's a fantastically fun stitch. So just letting you know. So I got started on that. You can't see it, but I got started on that. But I did actually have a new start that I can show you. I have stuff I can show you now. So I posted this on Instagram a while ago. I posted that I had gotten this pattern. I should take this out of the... I don't know why I never take things out of the plastic. Okay. So I purchased this as soon as Michelle released it. This is the Drama Llama sampler. No time for drama. This patriarchy won't dismantle itself. I purchased it immediately, and then almost immediately after that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed. And so I also immediately knew, and I don't think it was originally my idea. I think I saw, I want to say, Stitches with Sphinxes on Instagram said or asked Michelle if she could do a rechart to include the quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. What is it? Real change, lasting change happens one step at a time. So she requested that, and I was totally on board. I'm here for it. Michelle did actually rechart a section. I think she recharted the main text section here. So instead of the Drama Llama quote, it reads the Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote. But I actually want to keep the Drama Llama quote and add the Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote. And then I'm going to do something else down here I haven't figured out. Oh, I think because I had an idea and then I forgot the idea, but I think I just remembered the idea. So I'm going to put the, I think what I want to do is put the enduring change quote up here, leave the Drama Llama quote here, and then down here I'm going to put may her memory be a blessing, RGB. RBG. Yes, RBG. Sorry, dyslexia. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I posted on Instagram ages ago, I think like the end of September, or maybe the middle of September or something, that I was going to get started on this, and then I never did, and I was going to get started on it when I went on vacation, and I didn't. I finally got started on it on Tuesday, on Election Day, and I posted on Instagram, today feels like a good day to dismantle patriarchy, and I had a fangirl moment because Michelle responded, because I tagged her, Michelle responded that every day is a good day to dismantle the patriarchy, and I totally agree. So here is my very modest start. I spent a fair portion of that day finishing the other model stitch, the small model stitch. Let me see if I can, okay, there we go. So I spent a fair portion of that day getting the other stitch finished first, and then I started on this one. So as you can see, I don't have a ton of stitches in, but I am loving the way that this border is coming out. So this fabric is a 32 count Joblin from Stitch Me, Brandy at Stitch Me. The needle minder is from, I can't remember, it's a shop out of the UK. And I can't think of it now. I'm sure I've linked it in the link haven, but it says be a nice human, which I think fits very well with this whole idea. And then the floss that I'm using here, this is a hand-dyed cotton floss from hand-dyed cotton floss from from Kathy Davidson at Dying for Cross Stitch. I'm not sure, I think this was not a named colorway. Yeah. So the two colors I selected, this will be color 1, and as you can see, it's got a bright blue, hopefully that's focusing, it's got a really bright blue that sort of fades out into that beautiful green there, which I think is fantastic. So that's that's color 1, and then color 2 is another Kathy Davidson floss. This is also an unnamed colorway, but it's really, really pretty. So it's darker tones that I think will complement this very well. So it's got more green, but it's also got a little bit of teal in there, some dark blue, brown. So I think it's going to be really, really nice all together. So I did get started on that. I may work on this some more this weekend. I'll talk about plans here in a minute. But I'm very excited to have gotten started on that. So, sorry, I'm getting getting flosses all discombobulated. So, that was very exciting. As I said, I started that on election day. My original plan had been to work on this drama llama pattern almost exclusively on election day, but I didn't get the other model stitch finished as soon as I wanted to. So I didn't work on this as much as I would have liked on election day. But I spent election day, since I had voted early, along with pretty much everybody locally that I know. I didn't need to go stand in line. I didn't need to help anybody get to the polls or anything like that. So I spent the day trying to stay centered and do my crafts and watch Buffy and just kind of like ignore the election results, because I knew on Tuesday that we wouldn't have anything, we wouldn't know anything before Wednesday. I knew because of how everything has been going, I knew we wouldn't know. So I stayed away from anything talking about election results, because I knew that if I was lucky, I might wake up Wednesday morning and have a better idea of what was happening, but I was fairly certain it would take longer than that, and obviously it has. We're looking at, realistically, I don't even know how long we're looking at being uncertain, because I know that even some of the states that have been decided will be recounted, because the numbers are so close. I know that recounts are going to be requested, so it could be months. I don't even know how long a recount takes. Regardless, sorry, I didn't mean to get back into that. It's just, it's on my mind, obviously. It's on my mind. It's probably on a lot of your minds too, and it's hard. It's just hard. So anyway, so that's what I did on election day. I didn't have to go vote. I had already voted. And so yeah, I was just trying to keep myself sane, and that's been the name of the game since then. I also, on that day, stitch a little bit on a whip that I haven't given any love in a long, long time. I had hoped to pull this out in October, and it just wasn't in the cards. The more I make plans, the less I'm able to keep the plans. Stuff just happens. So I feel almost like I have to take things day by day. If I try to plan for next week and next month and next year, then everything goes to crap. I mean, certainly 2020 has taught me that. We had so many plans for this year, and now we have no plans for this year. So anyway, so I took out Baba Yaga, and you may not even recognize that there's much much progress here. I'll see if I can find the last photo I took of it before I did anything, but basically I filled in, figure out which hand is which, I filled in the rest of this part of the house. I can't, oh my gosh, okay, there we go. So there was a gap here, so I filled out the rest of that black, and so that's the progress I've made. Yeah, does it look impressive? You can see I've started using my my Trick or Treat box needle minder. This felt very, very appropriate. So this is my tarot card needle minder that says the Stitcher. So that will live with my Baba Yaga until I finish Baba Yaga. So this pattern is from the Witchy Stitcher. I started this earlier this year. I would like to finish it by the end of this year, but we'll see. There's still a lot of stitches. This has a surprising number of stitches. So I think I finally put it in Pattern Keeper, and I think I've done about 2,000 stitches, but I think it has 7,000 or 8,000 overall. So there's still a lot of work to go, because once the house is finished, then I get to do all of the border and everything, and I'm going to have to take it out of this frame to do the border, because it is, I don't like to squish the stitches and stuff, and this is obviously not large enough to do the full thing, because there's like a frame that goes around, and there's some text and stuff like that. So I might even see if I can put this in a scroll frame or something like that. We'll see. Someday I'm going to buy some scroll frames. I don't know when that'll be now, because I didn't do that while I was in the high spending days. So we'll see. I'll have to save up for that. But yeah. So got some stitches in on this, got some stitches in on the Drama Llama, and I plan to get lots and lots of stitches in on all sorts of stuff this weekend, because this weekend is 24 hours of cross stitch. Um, let's see. I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about plans. I was going to do haul first, but I'll talk about plans because I'm already in it. So this weekend is 24 hours of cross stitch. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you know that this is the third. I believe it's the third time I am participating in 24 hours of cross stitch. This weekend, luckily, is a weekend when the Hubs is working night shift. So that gives me my mornings free to do whatever and my evenings free to do whatever. Not that I can't do whatever when he's here. It's just that I like to spend time with him versus, doing my stitchy stuff. Or I can usually knit while we're watching something together, so we can spend time while I'm knitting. But it's harder when I'm cross stitching because I need so much space and I need all my stuff. And anyway, the point is that I should have plenty of stitching time this weekend, and I'm going to try to get started today. I'm going to be kind of chill about it compared to previous 24 hours of cross stitch. I hope to get 24 hours, but I'm honestly not going to I'm not going to stress about it. I just want to stitch to enjoy stitching. So if I get tired, I'm going to stop. I am going to use the app that I used. My phone is not right here. I'm going to use the app that I used last time, Swipe Times, to count my stitching time. So I will be keeping track, but I'm not going to stress about it too awfully much. If I don't make 24 hours, I don't make 24 hours, because what I really want is just to enjoy stitching, because I haven't gotten a lot of stitching time in the last month. A lot of my crafty time has been spent knitting, and there's no problem with that, but I do want to get fully back into cross stitching. I think taking on as many model stitches as I have recently has kind of inhibited my stitchy bug, because I have this tendency, I don't know if y'all do this or not, when I have to work on a thing, I suddenly don't want to do it anymore. When it's an obligation, like my brain is like, no, let's not. So even though I have other stuff that I can and have stitched on, because my brain knows that there's a thing I have to stitch on, that I need to be stitching on, that I'm obligated to stitch on, it just kind of avoids stitching altogether. So I'm at a really good place with the model stitches. I'm going to get caught up on the larger stitch for Tempting Tangles, and once I get caught up with that, then I will be free to just sort of stitch whatever I want, because that's not going to be on a super fast time frame once I get to a certain point. So at that point, I'm going to take a break from model stitching probably, and not offer to do more stitching more stitching for a little while at least, unless there's a couple of situations that are caveats to that. But in general, I'm gonna not take on any more model stitches for a couple of months, at least until the first of the year, just to give myself a break and stitch whatever I feel like stitching. Because it's nice to know that you're not obligated to stitch anything, that you can stitch anything you feel like stitching. So that's going to be the name of the game this weekend. I'm going to work on whatever feels good. So I am going to, like I said, I'm going to put a decent amount of time into my model stitch first, just because I'm jazzed about it. So while I'm jazzed about it, I'm going to take advantage of that. And I'm going to get as much stitching in on that as I can, or at least I'm going to get to a specified point if I can. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to stitch on whatever feels good. I think I'm going to probably stitch on some Baba Yaga. Definitely. I'm going to stitch on some of the key. Let's see. Of course, I don't have things easy to hand because I didn't actually plan for this part. I'm probably also going to stitch on, this is, this. This is, okay, I have the pattern right here. Let me just, because my brain is blanking. This is For Elise. For Dilly. Okay. This is by Ink Circles, obviously. So this is meant to be a Christmas gift. for some friends of ours. So I may stitch on this. I'm not going to like make that a hard and fast rule. It would be good if I could finish it for Christmas this year. If I can't finish it for Christmas this year, it is what it is. I'm not going to stress about it. But I also think I want to work on the key. Okay. My stash over here is, or my stitchy drawer over here is a mess. So this is Goose in a Dress Sal. This is a Barbara Anna design. This is going to be a goose in a dress. As you can see, I've got a fair bit of progress on here, so there's really not, I mean, this is a potential finish, I think, for the weekend, so we'll see. I think about this one a lot when I'm not stitching it, so I feel like I need to pull this one out and need to work on it some, because my brain is like drawn to this, and there's several other Barbara Anna designs that I want to do, and I think I want to do one at a time so that I can enjoy them individually. So this one is the key. The next one, or one of the other ones I want to do, is Fox in a Dress Sal, and that is called Light. Excuse me. And as the Sal suggests, the Sal name would suggest, the hashtag name would suggest, pardon me, Light is a fox in a dress. And I learned about both of these through Michelle Bendy at Bendy Stitchy. So obsessed with them. There's also a cat in a dress. That pattern is called Trick or Treat, I believe, that came out in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. Pretty sure that's where that is. Regardless, I have that pattern, and that's also one that I want to do. I had wanted to do it in October, obviously, but I think another thing I've decided is that I'm just going to work on stuff when I want to work on stuff. If it's, you know, June and I want to work on a Christmas stitch, I'm going to work on a Christmas stitch or a winter stitch or whatever. If it's January and I want to work on a spooky Halloween stitch, I'm going to work on a spooky Halloween stitch. I have a really hard time keeping up with the holidays, because what happens is by the time I get into the right mood for that season, the season's already passed. Like, now I'm finally in the spooky mood. Now, in the beginning of October, when I should be getting into fall and autumn and Thanksgiving. So by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, I will finally be in Thanksgiving mood, and then it will be time to start warming up for Christmas. I always say Christmas. I mean winter and winter holidays. I don't mean to. It's so entrenched, but I'm not really a Christmas person. It's not really my thing. I love winter holiday general. But I always say Christmas because it's just so ingrained in myself and the way I was brought up, and the things that I see in the world, and I'm really trying to break myself of that because there's other things going on in December than just Christmas. Hanukkah starts December 12th, and Kwanzaa, I'm not familiar with when it actually starts, but I know it happens in December. At least some of it happens in December. And I'm sure that there are other holidays that I'm not even aware of that are happening in December. So it's winter holiday season. And that's what it shall be known as from now on. Because we're inclusive here, and we like everybody to feel like they have a place. So, yeah, digression. It's one of those days. So anyway, so this is a possibility for working on this weekend. I have my super cute, you can't see the fabric because I have so much crap in there, but my super cute bendy flip from Bags Plus that is color coordinated, I think. I like the fact that the colors go together. So that's a potential to work on this weekend, and this is a potential to work on this weekend if I can ever get it. I can't remember how. Okay, this is the top. I think what I might do, even though I have the paper pattern, I think I might look for, I might try to purchase the electronic pattern to put into Pattern Keeper, because I find that Pattern Keeper makes it so much easier for me to keep up with where the stitches are going. It also keeps me more motivated, and it's not about the stitch count specifically, it's actually the percentage, because what Pattern Keeper does, as you mark off stitches that you've completed, it tells you how many stitches you stitched today. It tells you your total number out of what you've stitched out of the total number of stitches in the pattern, but then it gives you a percentage of your completion, and that percentage is what drives me. I don't even know. Knowing that I'm 25% of the way through a pattern is much more energizing than knowing that I did 2,500 of 5,000 stitches, or 10,000 stitches. I don't know what 25% is. Regardless, the X out of X number of stitches is not nearly as motivating as knowing that I'm 25% completed, 50% completed, 60, 70, 80% completed. That's what drives me. So I don't know why, but it makes me feel like I'm stitching faster. And as much as I'm a process stitcher, I enjoy working on a piece and seeing it come to just like sort of develop before my eyes. I like seeing all the colors come together and all that sort of stuff. I'm also very much a product stitcher. Like, I want to get to that finish, which I think is why I've had such a hard time with the stitch alongs this year. One, I took on way too many. Two, you don't get a finish very quickly at all. Like, you can theoretically be satisfied for the monthly finish, but when you take on 6 or 7 stitch alongs and the finishes take so long individually and you can't finish each one each month, it gets to the point where it's just like, it's very discouraging, because it's just like this huge, massive undertaking, and it shouldn't be, but it has become that for me. So these pieces that are one-offs, that have a finite completion, it's much easier for me to get into. So these are the prime suspects. I have a whole bunch of other stuff. I've still got my gathering berries in here that I may work on. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I might work on. We'll just have to see what actually happens. So, like I said, I'm going to let my heart decide what I stitch on this weekend. It's basically just going to be, because a lot of times when I go through my whips, I start picking up pieces and looking at pieces and going, oh, I need to work on that. Oh, I need to work on that. And so I forget what I was doing. I was going through some of my whips and trying to see what I had and that kind of stuff. And pretty much every piece I picked up, I'm like, oh, I need to work on that. And I just don't have enough time to work on them all at one time, obviously. But I'm happy to know that I still have that feeling and that excitement for so many of the pieces that have been sitting here and languishing. There's only 1 or 2 that I don't feel very excited about, but those are pieces that I have to do anyway. So one of them is the Welcome Tiny Overlord. For whatever reason, even though I love stitching text, for whatever reason that one has gotten so boring, and I don't want to. I don't want to do it, but I need to get it done. But it might be a first birthday present. We'll have to see. He's only 4 months old now, so I still have some time, I guess. But yeah, anyway. That's one of the few pieces that I'm just like, I don't know, but I need to finish it. Not that the person in question even knows, as far as I know. They don't know that I'm doing that stitch for their little boy, but yeah, I decided I was going to do it. I need to do it, but probably not this weekend. This weekend is about enjoying the cross stitch and being happy with whatever I'm doing. And if I pull something out and I put 6 stitches in and it's not making me happy, I will move to something else, because it's about the enjoyment. It's not about the time. It's not about the number of stitches. It's about enjoying what I'm doing. So that's the plan for the weekend. I have a little bit of haul. So let's talk about a little bit of haul. I was hoping to actually have some FFOs for you today. Unfortunately, even though I got a shipping notice on my frames from Stay Home Stitches, I have not received that package yet. It's still in pre-transit or something like that. It might be stuck in limbo. I'm not really sure. So I received tracking, but it hasn't arrived yet. I did, however, receive the needle minders I ordered at the same time. So, excuse me, pardon me, my nose is all runny now. Hopefully you can see these. It's okay. Let me take these out of the plastic. Why do I do that to you? Please tell me why I do that to you every time. Let me just do this. Okay, you can see these better now. It's okay not to be okay, which is incredibly appropriate this weekend. Be kind to your mind. So these were awesome. I was super excited to purchase these. I'm not going to link you to these, and the only reason I'm not is because the business is closing. And I actually got a notification not long after, I think it was maybe the first week in October, So it was a week or two after I had made my purchase that I got an email saying that they were actually having to shut down earlier than they expected because they just had too much demand and they couldn't keep up. So they were originally going to continue taking frame orders until the end of October, but they actually stopped orders. Pretty much if you had gotten your order in by October 1st, they were going to cover you, but anything else, they were having to shut down. So they still have, they may still have some needle minders and things. So it is Stay Home Stitches. You can find them. What is their website? Yeah, stayhomestitches.com. So if you want to pause this and go to their website, if you're watching this pretty soon after I post it, they may still have needle minders and some accessories and things like that, because my understanding was that anything that was already produced that was in the shop, they would be selling until they sold out, or December 31st, whichever comes first. But the frames are no longer available, which is a shame. I only just finally got to a point where I could order some frames, so I have my order coming, but I won't be able to order anymore if I loved them, which is really a shame. But they're closing for good reasons, if there is such a thing. It's not that they're going out of business because they're not successful. They're wildly successful as far as I understand, but the owner is basically, she's quitting her stitchy business so that she can go do her dream job. So, I mean, I can't be mad at that. I'm a little mad, but I can't be mad at that. It's just funny though, because her dream job is like, I want to say she's going to be going into therapy, providing therapy services and things like that, which is fantastic. We need more of those people. But my dream job is to have a stitchy shop, so it's just kind of funny. But yeah, so these are super awesome. If you want to check out the shop, you're welcome, but they will be closing down pretty much any day now at this point. So it is what it is. I also got in, this is my Christmas bag from Caroline, this is my Evertote, my Christmas Evertote, words, from Caroline at Off the Grid. So very, very excited. I ordered this back in September. She shipped it out in the middle of October, and I just received it maybe, well, it would have been after last Friday, sometime between last Friday and this Friday. And I'm struggling a little bit with the bow. She wrapped it up so nicely. And I don't know if you could see, but I'm going to cut this ribbon because this is too much struggle. She actually put the zipper pull on the ribbon. Let's see if I can get it to focus. I'm too far away. Okay. I don't have it right side out anyway. Let me try this again. Come on, camera. There we go. Okay. So it's a super cute little zipper pull, a little Christmas tree. Of course, I said all that about Christmas, but this is pretty Christmas themed. But I don't dislike Christmas. I just want to recognize that there are other holidays out there. So pardon the paper ripping. Okay. So first things first, she sent this packet of Tim Hortons hot chocolate, which is fantastic. I've heard wonderful things about Tim Hortons in general from Canadian friends, but I have never had a chance to try anything from Tim Hortons, so this is exciting. So some hot chocolate, a cute little zipper pull. I apologize if I keep looking off in the distance. The neighbors are doing something weird, like there's some kind of rideshare thing happening, and they're just kind of, the van is just hanging out in front of the house, my house, for some reason. Anyway, so here is the here is the bag. How cute is this? This is actually last year's bag. So she had a whole different fabric for this year's bags, but she also had a few kits from last year left over. So I got last year's because I preferred it to the new fabrics, which were largely based on 12 Days of Christmas. They just weren't my particular taste, but I think this is super cute. I love this. I also love anything that's Christmassy that's not just straight up red and green. I'm not a huge fan of red and green. I am very much a blue, white, and silver. Ooh, I like this fabric. Look at that. It's like cotton candy Christmas. That's nice. I like that. It definitely plays well with the pink and these little bows here on this fabric. So love, 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 love. Super cute. Super cute. And we also get the coordinating notions bag, which has something in it. Ooh. Love it. Oh, this has got the pink on the inside too. Oh, I didn't realize it came with this. I guess that's why it's a kit. So, so we have a thread sorter, a woodcut thread sorter, which is also a Christmas tree, super cute. And also some flosses and a needle minder. How did I not know it came with all of this? So this is a Jingle Bell needle minder. It's very, very cute. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. If you will focus, camera. The camera just won't focus. Okay, you get the idea. So it comes with its own needle minder and a couple of flosses. So we've got 3687 and 3811, which I believe are part of the called for flosses for the pattern that came with this. And I'll try to stick a picture up here of the pattern. It's from Lindy Stitches. So again, this is last year's kit. This is not this year's kit. There was a different pattern included with this year's kit. But I really wanted the Lindy Stitches one. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's going to be on the picture that I put up here. So, so Caroline already emailed me that pattern. So I have that, and because it's electronic, I can put it in Pattern Keeper, which we love. I want to say it's like Santa's Cocoa Shop or something like that. It's got cute little reindeer on it. How cute are the reindeer? So yeah. So yeah, I have a cute, super cute little Christmas stitch if I feel like doing a Christmas stitch this month or next month or whenever I feel like doing a Christmas stitch. I actually have a whole book of Christmas stitches that I got from Lakeside Needlecraft last year, and I never did get around to stitching any of the stuff out of it, which is kind of disappointing. But the good news is, because it's a book, I have it all year round, and I can stitch Christmas stuff or holiday stuff, winter stuff anytime I want to. I think I may have missed out on the summer one. I've been waiting for it to be restocked, and they haven't restocked it in a while. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to get the summer one, which is a little disappointing because there are some really, really cute patterns. Michelle Bendy Stitchy did a flip through of the book, partly because she is featured in the book, so there's a Bendy Stitchy pattern in there, but there's some really, really cute patterns, summer patterns that I would like to have. So at some point I hope to be able to get the book. We'll have to see. Okay, folks. Wow, I didn't realize how long I had rambled. I rambled quite a while. So, I think that's all I had for you today. I thought it was going to be super fast. It was not super fast. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're doing as well as you can do. For my friends in the U.S. who are trying to survive the anxiety with me, take care of yourself. Make sure you're drinking your water, taking your meds, staying hydrated. Take breaks when you need to, and that's breaks from whatever, whether it's breaks from media, breaks from family. Just make sure you're taking breaks. Take care of yourself first. You cannot, what is the phrase? You can't fill a cup from an empty vessel. Something like that. Basically, if you don't take care of yourself first, you can't take care of anyone else. Think about it like when you're on a plane and they say that you need to put your mask on first and then help others. You can't help anybody if you don't help yourself first. So take care of yourself first. For my folks who are my friends who are in Europe, where lockdowns are happening again, know that my heart is with you. You got through it once, you will get through it again. I don't know if the rest of us are going to have to go through lockdowns. I think a lot for us in the U.S. depends on how the election goes. It depends on who our leadership is and what they feel is appropriate. So, but yeah, I feel you. If you're going back into lockdown, it's scary, it's frustrating, it's hard. But know that every day that you stay at home, you could be saving somebody else's life. So, anyway, you all take care of yourselves too. Drink your water, stay hydrated, take any meds that you need to take breaks when you need to. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. before you take care of others so that you can take care of others. So, and in addition to all of that, in addition to all of that, remember that you are enough, and good enough is good enough. And I will see you all next time. Have a great day.